What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage, and welcome back to another tournament report. And we have several things to go over today. I'm going to try to make this as quick and concise as possible, but to be fair, there's a lot of stuff we have to cover. Last time I was only able to really cover the White Plains regionals. This time we have San Jose, and on the same weekend, we had, on the weekend of October the 22nd, we had 3 different regionals happen. In Sydney, Australia, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this correctly, Someren in the Netherlands, and Richmond in Canada. I don't know what BC stands for, I'm sorry. Forgive my ignorance on geography. I'm a trucker, so I know the states, I don't know other countries, forgive me. But no, so we have a lot to cover. I will say though, we don't have the full list of all the deck lists for 2 of these. Let's go ahead and take a look at this, and I do have to move my little avatar over, so forgive me for being partially in the way here. Once again, we're looking at this on Weiss Tea Time, and they're getting in a lot of the deck list, but some of them haven't come in just yet, so they haven't been able to post all of them. Say for San Jose, we had 23 players, and they got 4 of the decks up here, so I did want to go over each of those. But I will, and when the other ones get loaded, I will try to go over those in a future tournament report or something. Because I'm going to have to do the same thing with Richmond. We're going to scroll down real quick. We're not covering Richmond today. I'm not going to go over each of the decks for this one just yet, but there are some very interesting ones I want to talk about. Because once again, only about half of them are up here right now. But once again, it's a lot to go through. So, big thank you to Weiss Tea Time for all that y'all do and all the postings and making all these lists and everything. For those who want to go check them out, please, link for them will be in the description. Go check out their stuff and their articles and everything. But we are going to talk about the Netherlands, Australia, and we're going to talk about the 4 decks we have up here for Costa Rica today. So I wanted to go ahead and get right into those. First off, we have Overlord is finally, after several regionals, is finally topping after all the hype. It seems like it finally came to fruition. Now, I do want to say also, this was 23 players. This is 1/3 of them. These 8 decks is 1/3 of the total players that were there. But I don't want to downplay that in any shape, form, or fashion. I'm still fairly certain everyone who attended did their best and gave it their all. So, kudos to them regardless of how many, whether it's 20 players or, 500. Obviously everyone's going to go in trying to kick ass and take names. So, but we do have, so Overlord finally topped here, and this is the deck layout we're looking at here. We do have a couple SPs in here, so kudos on that. Obviously the level 3 Eins making a bunch of people kind of shit their pants, I'm certain, if they're able to pull off the full combo and everything. The level 1 as well. I'm certain this level 1, something's going to happen with this thing. But yeah, no, it combos with the level 3, and the level 3 works off of a gold bar, and the level 1 Shawl tier right here works off of a salvage trigger, being able to bounce out if she reverses, as well as be able to get stuff back from the waiting room. So really good. So I'm glad to actually see this topping. I know I've kind of talked a little bit of shit, but I don't run the deck. I'm just glad to see, after all the hype that it's been getting, after a no-show in a lot of the top 8 regionals, that it's finally here. So continuing right on, we do have a Data Live 8 standby that was in 2nd place. And this, I actually had to bring up the restricted list on the English Weiss site just to confirm a couple things. First off, this particular level 3, I was about to say level 2, level 3 Kurumi is limited to 2 copies, and as you can see, it is in the deck right here. I guess I wanted to go over this real quick just for those who are unfamiliar with it, because you really haven't seen Data Live do a lot of tops as of recently. So this Terrible Spirit Kurumi is a 3/2/9/5. If you have 2 or more other Date or Celestial Spirit characters, it gains an extra 1,000. Heal 1 on play. When this card attacks, if Fearless Smile, which is a standby, is in your climax area and you have 2 or more other Date or Celestial Spirit characters, you can pick one of the following effects and perform it. Either your opponent puts all cards in their stock into their waiting room and then puts the same number of cards from the top of their deck into their stock, a Buns for Luck effect for those who know what that is. Or you get to choose up to 3 cards in your opponent's waiting room, return them to their deck, and your opponent shuffles their deck, and or a last effect. Choose 2 cards in your hand, put them into your waiting room. If you put 2 cards into your waiting room, deal 3 damage to your opponent. So a plethora of like versatility and variety of effects, it just proved to be a bit too strong, so they put it on the limited list. You can only use 2 copies. But Data Live also has a pick 1 of 3 restricted list. This Yoshino is very oppressive, and I'm surprised they weren't running this. They instead chose to opt the Toka. The Toka is still very good. It is the Brainstormer and everything. It has an effect when you play a climax, you get to bounce this back to your hand, which opens up spaces for your standby plays, which is very understandable. It's a very good card in general. But they chose to run this over the Yoshino, which I guess, especially going up against stuff like Overlord, where the Eins makes it so it can't become reversed or anything. Or the character face that's attacking it can't become reversed either. Reverses like this are basically useless against it, so it's kind of understandable. But this is a very powerful card. But I did want to bring that up really quick. A lot of the other decks up here really don't have to worry about the restricted list too much, other than, obviously, Hololive, RIP, Ayame. But that's whatever. I do feel the restricted list is something good to go over at some point, because we are reaching the middle of the regional season to kind of try to talk about some stuff as well. So I realize my ears are like covering over here and everything, so apologies. But yeah, no, so Data Live got 2nd place, really freaking awesome there. Avatar The Last Airbender 8 standby with the Zuko Iroh combo. I was very happy to see this. Because from what I've seen, most of the stuff that was topping for like the standby builds was using the level 3 Azula, because there's a Sokka that has a very fun interaction to be able to like let you get off more attacks at the cost of dealing yourself damage. So they aren't running that, obviously, but they are running the level 1 Azula combo off of the salvage trigger for the advantage engine, and then a split of two of the siblings Agni Kai, which is the Zuko and Iroh combo. And this one is the Zuko and Aang one, which I actually want to highlight this a bit more. The Zuko and Iroh is really good, but I want to highlight this a bit more because this level 3 is extremely oppressive. It lets you summon itself and another copy of itself when you do the whole standby combo and everything. Well, when you play the standby and you summon this one specifically, you get to pay a cost to summon another copy of it. The effects that they have let you downgrade, quote unquote, your opponent's characters on their stage, and lets you get a whole bunch of stuff as long as they are not hex-proofed. Lets you get a bunch of characters off of the field and try to make it so your opponent just does not have some of their key cards. So this is a very oppressive card, and I do like the fact that people are trying to run this. So really cool. Shout outs to person playing Avatar. And the last one that we had that we were able to post, okay, so this was the Avatar wasn't 3rd place, that was 4th place. The last one we were actually able to show is the only 8 standby quintuplets deck that I've seen for the entirety of this Fall Fest. So this is going back to very, very classic quintuplets. I was about to say Nino. I was like, it is mostly Nino, but it's running the Ichika package and everything. Granted, it is not running, once again, on the restricted list, it's not running the Ichika Brainstormer. So if we go over here, obviously it's going to be trying to run this particular level 0 Nino instead, which is very fair, and they were able to replace it with Brainstormers of the Nino Brainstormer and just some other cards that let you mill in general, like this Itsuki when it leaves the field lets you pay a cost to be able to like dig cards from the top of your deck and everything. Other than that, it's not utilizing any of the new Nino Climax combos, not even like the new level 1 from the movie set. So it does have some of the card. No, this is Frank Words. This is this one. It's a SR of this one. So it's utilizing most of the earlier sets. I don't see anything from the movie set in particular. So maybe they were just like, hey, why try to fix it when it ain't broken, So, but hey, they made top 8. Heck yeah, freaking awesome. So next we're going to be getting into the Australia ones. I've realized we've already spent a little bit of time, but I'm going to try to blitz through these as much as possible. So for the Sydney, Australia one, we had 56 players, which is really awesome, but it was dominated by SAO. We have 4 SAO decks in the top 8, and I almost said 4 again. 3 Hololive decks, which I am very happy to see, especially because we do have a little bit of variation here, and 1 singular Fruit of Grisaya deck. So we're definitely going to be taking a look at that in a second here. We're going to blitz through the SAO decks really quick, but I did want to showcase them, shout outs, obviously. Wish this was Haruhi deck, really funny. This is very standard. There's not like a whole bunch of crazy stuff. They weren't utilizing the one, I think it was a Berkoli, that lets you like I remember it was like a very interesting tech. I don't remember what the card is. It's been several weeks since I saw it. But they're not running that. They are running the Xenon Brainstormer to try to do some burn. Really freaking awesome. Very good. Next we had for second place was, once again, this SAO, but this was the Silica variant, utilizing the level 3 here. We do have some really awesome SP right here with the Argo. Really cool. Also being able to actually see this instead of the other money counter event. This literally does the exact same thing for the most part. But this was like a really cool foil promo. And they obviously have like a lot of alternate arts and stuff like that. Kudos to them. So yeah, just Alice shenanigans. Really can't complain. Then this was, I'll make certain. So this was third place with Ozki Gura, which is really fun to see. I did see an interesting tech in here that I do want to highlight. I realize my face is kind of covering it. This one utilized this Anya, which the second effect basically goes to waste because this is a 4 standby and 4 pants is the typical Ozki Gura shenanigans. The Anya here has a secondary effect to search for salvage triggers, but that's not utilized in this deck in the slightest. The very interesting thing that I believe it's used for is the fact it's a 2/1/7k. If you have 4 or more other Hololive characters, she gains 5k, making her 12. And the following ability, during this card's battle, your opponent cannot play events or backup from their hand. So more than likely, this is just meant to like get buffed and then just try to kill stuff that is just being a nuisance. Obviously it rivals like Alice in terms of power. It's going to rival a whole bunch of other characters in terms of power, and as long as you're able to get over those, this is a very nice tech to make certain that you're able to get over those and make certain that you don't like get back up or something. Now this will not stop if your opponent had an effect like the Choco that lets it sack itself to give a buff. Like that's not considered backup or anything, so that could still be utilized, something they got to watch out for, but that's also not something used as much. Obviously people are going to rely on their like memory kick backups, obviously, ones like Coyote here and everything, or their anti-change and stuff like that. So being able to have this is a very interesting tech, and shout outs to the person who ran this. Really cool. Most everything else in here is pretty standard. I realize I'm covering up Rene there. Next we have another Alice deck utilizing Alice for the Kirito combo like the first place was. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Once again, I'm just kind of doing a quick glance over. I don't really see anything out of the ordinary. We're going to continue along. Here is the Grisaya deck. Now, I do remember going over the entire Grisaya set. There are several really crazy cards. If I remember correctly, there is a memory card. I think it's this one right here. So for anyone who played Kantai back in the day, this is a shout out to Heal Tax. This is one of the only other heal taxes in the entirety of English Weiss. So this Kazuki says, when it becomes reversed in battle, you can pay 1 stock to put it into your memory. So you do get a little bit of memory compression, really cool there. But the main thing is the second effect. If this card is in your memory, okay, yeah, sorry. I know there's some that do the memory thing and then you draw a card. I was making certain I wasn't forgetting the effect. But it says, if this is in your memory, when your card or your opponent's card in the clock is put into the waiting room due to the respective player's card effects, that player may choose 1 card in their hand and put it into their waiting room. Otherwise, that player puts the top card of their deck into their clock. So it either forces them to have to discard, or they end up taking another damage anyway. Now, you can get around this because it has to specifically heal from clock to waiting room. So any of the cards that heal from clock to stock, those get around this entirely. The other heal tax was also not a discard from hand. The one from Kantai Collection was a Hibiki. I ran it, so that's been a hot minute since I've run that. But that Hibiki stated if they didn't, they either had to pay stock or they had to take a damage. So it basically it nullifies what they were doing. So some people, though, in this day and age, don't like, they're going to be sitting, like, sometimes at the end of the game, they're like, by the time they hit level 3, they're sitting with like 10 plus stock anyway. So I mean, I just see that happen so much, which, I mean, I've done that before as well. So in that regards, heal tax does nothing to them. So they're just like, okay, cool, well, I pay a little bit extra, more than likely paying climaxes out, something. So making it so your opponent actually loses cards from hand is a very interesting effect. So glad to see that there is a new form of heal tax in the game. Otherwise, we have a salvage and pants trigger set up. Let's see, the salvage one is off of this Sachi. It's a 104k, gets 500 power for each of your other Grisaya characters, making her a 106k, both offensive and defensive minimum. When Sunny Park is placed into your climax area, if this card is in your center stage and you have another Grisaya character, choose one of the following effects and perform it. You either get Cooking with Sachin in Waiting Room, return it to hand, or you search your deck for Cooking with Sachin and put it from your deck and put it into your hand. So it is meant to get this particular event right here, no matter what, to let you play it to try to do some salvaging effects on the following turn. So that is really cool. The pants trigger, I'm just trying to blitz through this real quick. I cannot read that. It's French. That's all I know. It's a Yumiko. 3/2/10k. When this is placed on stage from your hand, you can discard a card to heal the top card of your clock to your stock. So it is very nice to have your finisher is able to get around your own heal tax. Very nice. When this card attacks, pay 1 stock if the pants trigger is in your climax area. You can, if you do, this gets 2k power till end of turn, and you get to choose one of the following effects and perform it. Either put all of your opponent's stock into their waiting room and your opponent puts the same number of cards from the top of their deck into their stock, or deal 1 damage. So just every deck running Buns for Luck is very nice. It's just very good. People got to watch out for how much stock they have. So just very nice to have the option there. And once again, it can play around its own heal tax, but that is something to be aware of if you go up against Grisaya. So we have another, for the 6th place, another SAO deck. It's the Alice Silica combo. Once again, nothing really super out of the ordinary. Just I don't want to say bog standard, because it sounds like I'm like talking down about the deck. But I mean, obviously the person topped and I didn't. All or nothing. Yeah, no, for real. No, still really good. We're going to continue along. This is one I really wanted to talk about. It's a Kanata Suisei deck from Hololive, utilizing the level 3 Kanata as the engine. At the beginning of your attack phase, if you have the climax in play, which this can be early played from the level 2. If this is in your center stage and you have a full field, choose up to 2 Hololive characters in your waiting room, return 2 of them to your hand, and put the rest, or return up to 2 of those to your hand and put the rest into your stock. So you either get to hand fix or get some very clean stock if you're able to summon a whole bunch of these, which is really nice. And utilizing the level 3 Suisei combo, and they are running 1 copy of the level 0. This Suisei can summon the level 3 out early, because this level 3 can actually contest the Overlord setup with the Eins and everything, because the Eins becomes hexproof. The Muran Shizu setup with Slime, like most of the characters up there have hexproof, but this has a very interesting effect where when you play the climax at the beginning of your attack phase, if the climax is in play, you get to pick one of 2 effects. Either some burn, which is still very nice, or you get to put all of your opponent's characters into your memory and then put those characters in separate positions of your opponent's stage, which lets you get around all the hexproof stuff and set up the stage in your favor to where you can reverse stuff, as well as get rid of any lingering effects. So this is a very nice combo. I'm glad to see more people using this. So I'm not saying that it was like unused, but I'm just glad that it's become a bit more popular in that regard. A lot of other very interesting tech stuff, obviously from Volume 2 and 1. You got obviously the Hachima, that is the backup that lets you pitch 4 Hololive characters to make your opponent's one of your opponent's characters rest itself. So very, very crazy there. I'm just loving looking at anything Hololive related. Let's be real. A lot of good tech here. Sorry, I'm covering Ina. I don't mean to, Ina. You're so nice. And the Lammy and everything. So very fun there. And lastly, we do have another Ozki Gura deck. So once again, nothing really out of the ordinary. This one only running like one of the Anya, but still, yeah, no, just really good. This is once again kind of the standard in terms of what you see for the most part. I think some of the decks are running more copies of the Hato instead of the Anya, but I'm glad to see, like I said, this person also running the Anya. So this is one of the ones you can also like stand by in if you really need to, and then like the consecutive turn if your opponent has something really annoying and you need to get over it that, like, say the Amelia probably can't deal with. Bam, done. So, and that is going to be it for Australia. Now, I wasn't able to pull up the decks for this just yet, so pause 1 second to let me do that. All right, now that I got all the tabs up, this next one is for Sommeren in the Netherlands. This one actually had a very nice turnout with almost 80 players, 79. But we do have a nice showing of a couple different decks here. We have SAO, Hololive, Slime, and Quintuplets. 2 of every single one of them, which is just really cool to be able to see a little bit more diversity and a little bit more even out of the play. So let's go ahead and start right into it. So we do have Alice Silica, but we have some for the other SAO. I was actually really happy to see this this setup, so you'll get to see it in just a second here. The quintuplets, we do not have 8 Nino, Big Sag, but we do have some Oski Gura and also a very fun Oski Polka deck. I definitely want to go over that in a second here. So let's start obviously the Alice deck with the Silica finisher, really nice. Utilizing the event for the money counter. So I'm just looking over, just once again making certain I'm not missing anything. So congrats to the first place, Alice. Very fair for the name. This person was cooking. We have a slime deck. It is the Shizu Miran combo for anyone unfamiliar. You utilize, it's an 8 pants, utilizing the level 1 Shizu right here to get your engine going. The Muron to finish out getting more engine, as well as some extra stock, and then various level 3s to help finish up your end games. So it's not running the Beni Maru, which is there's like a level 3 Beni Maru a lot of people were using. Apparently some people were foregoing that altogether, supposedly. I don't know. But it looks like it has some other interesting little tech cards in here that I haven't seen in some of the other decks. As well as, oh no, so this is the anti-magic mask. It's like a different art from the regular anti-magic mask. This is the promo version. I don't remember. I think one of the anti-magic masks had a different effect. I just don't remember off the top of my head. So, really cool to see that. We have a Oski Gura. Never back down, never what? You answer the question in the comments, chat. I say chat. I don't even stream. Why am I saying chat? Please answer in the YouTube comments. We do have, this person decided they wanted all the Anya. They have 3 fucking Anyas in here. They're like, no, I don't care. We don't need Hato. We are just going to be beating everything down. Anya and Watson just going to be coming up in there like, just rolling up in there like you reposted in the wrong subreddit. So we got, like I said, is for the most part very standard. Like I said, I'm very glad to see the inclusion of Anya. Then we have, this particular one is very fun. This is a Oski Polka deck. So for anyone who is unfamiliar with the Oski effect, it's one of these standby triggers that lets you bounce this back to hand and sack the climax when you play it to search your deck for a Hololive character and add it to hand, so you get to grab basically anything that you need, but you still get to summon this off the standby. The other one, because this is an 8 standby deck, the other one is the Polka level 1 here, which is interesting. When this card attacks, if the climax is in play, you can salvage back a character, and this gets an extra 1,000 power to end of turn. The level of the character that you're able to add back is equal to the number of cards with different names in your memory. And I don't really see a lot of the typical like going to memory effects in here, but there's so many different like level 0 like utility cards. I think that's the main thing that you try to grab with this, but it's a very interesting setup. Trying to utilize with the standby, being able to summon out cards like this Luna, which make it so even though she gets -3 level while she's on the stage, the character facing her cannot side attack. So you can't just have like a level 0 side against this and do like full damage. It makes it so it has to be frontaled. As well as the other effects make it so when it gets frontaled, you get to look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top of your deck into your waiting room. And when the battle opponent becomes reversed, you can pitch a Hololive character from your hand, and deal 1 damage to your opponent. So it's forcing frontals. It's already an 11/5, which is why they're like, oh yeah, let's just give it -3 level for a downside. Oh, by the way, let's make it so the character facing it cannot side attack. I don't see this as a downside, Bushi. Let's be real. It also is running Iris, and I'm so happy to see this. This is a really nice promo. It can give all of your characters like a really, really big buff the turn that it's placed on stage from your hand. It can early play itself as well, which is very nice. And it has a very, very nice, it gives all of your characters a very nice removal effect to be able to send the characters that they reverse to the opponent. They heal the top card of the opponent's clock and then send that character to their clock, which is just very, very nice removal that you can just give to everything for free. Just so crazy there. So you just have a plethora of nice level 3s that you're able to summon out with the multitude of the 8 standbys that you're able to play and just go to town. The only Ayame that is legal. Okay. So continuing on, like I said, this is really cool. It's a very interesting little hodgepodge, but it can work. We have this particular SAO deck. I was actually very happy to see. We have Last Shot Xenon in the year of our Lord 2023. So this was just really crazy to see. They're focusing mainly on the last shot as opposed to the Kirito and Asuna level 3. This is a crazy level 3 in general. I don't like that you have to pay the cost on attack. I wish it was like at the end of the attack, or if the damage gets canceled, or something of that nature. But on attack, you pay 3, pitch 2 if Mother's Rosario is in play. If you do, when damage dealt by this is canceled, you get to put the top 11 cards of your deck into the waiting room and deal 2 damage X times to your opponent. X is equal to the number of climaxes that you mill amongst the 11 cards. Because this already combos, because you also they're running Zek and Yuki. Like they are running basically Zek and Shot and going, hey, we're already running Mother's Rosario. Let's just go ahead and run this other really crazy ass finisher. If it somehow works, it works. If it doesn't, whatever. Let's last shot for just game. So this is just really cool. And also they brought in a lot of tech from the anniversary set as well. Obviously you have the Argo right here. Even though it's from the anniversary set, it's a generic brainstormer. It makes it so you can play events without fulfilling color requirement. So if you somehow don't already have green, you're good to play the backup event and everything. It's running. I don't think this was from the anniversary set because it doesn't have the anniversary trait. This is something just not seen a whole hell of a lot, but I like that this tech is in here. On attack, if the character facing this is level 2, this gets plus 6k power till end of turn. So you can get really big and try to kill some level 2s that are annoying, like Alice or Muran or whatever. So just really good to see those. Still, the fact that they're able to take the newer stuff and utilize it in here. Hell, even the backup that people were the Mito promo from the anniversary set. So really cool. Glad to see Zek and Shot this day and age. Really cool. It's not dead apparently. For the 6th place, we do have a Muran Shizu deck as well. Just utilizing 8 pants, not pulling any Riage shenanigans apparently. Do have some alternate arts. This is the Benimaru I was talking about before. On attack, if your level has yellow, red, and blue, you can pay 1, pitch a Demon Continent to deal X damage to your opponent. X is equal to the level of the card that you reveal the top card of your deck and you deal X. X is equal to the level of the revealed card plus 1. That's what that was. So this is the other one that people were utilizing, but you have to make certain that you get that experience effect where you have to have 1 of each color, which isn't difficult, but I mean, it's a thing. So really cool. Not a whole lot of other crazy stuff. Let's just continue on. For the 7th and 8th slots, we have 2 different Quince decks. We have an 8 Salvage Itsuki deck utilizing one of the most broken level 1s in the entire set for Quince, with the new movie set level 3 finisher. I've already gone over these before in previous tournament reports. You can check those if you want. And lastly, we have 8 Choice Ichika utilizing a interesting little split because you do have several ways to get to whatever choice trigger that you want. Utilizing the level 1 Ichika The level 3 here, which I'm actually glad to see they're running like 4 of this, is just a very interesting climax combo, and I like this one a whole bunch. And the new one from the movie set as well for the getting to choose what kind of burn you want to do to the opponent if the damage gets canceled. Very nice. And that is going to be it. Shout outs to everyone who topped. Shout outs to everyone who played. Also, big thank you to everyone who has actually commented in some of the other tournament reports claiming, oh, I was such and such player. You know, thank y'all very much for doing so. It is really cool to see. Like I said, we're not going to be covering Richmond in Canada just yet. I will cover that on the next tournament report, hoping that maybe some more of the decks have come out, because I do want to talk about these. But I'm recording this, scrolling back up, before the Bilbao, Spain regionals has happened. That will be happening on the 29th. I'm probably posting this after the 29th. But hopefully by the time I come back in, I can cover that and a couple other ones by the time I come back in from work. I think these two, the Germany and the Houston ones, should have aired or should have occurred by this point. Let me scoot myself back over. And we know the Refresh Point boys are going to Houston. We know Goth Mom's going to Houston, I believe. I think Joe was talking about going to Houston. I can't remember if he said he was going to be able to go or not. So hopefully he can. But should have several in line by the time we get back. And like I said, if the other decks get posted for San Jose by that point, I will try to include those talking about Spain. But with that, thank y'all very much for watching. We got a lot of interesting decks in the past couple weeks and the past couple regionals. Very glad to see a good bit of diversity. Like even some of the later ones didn't have like Slime being as super dominant as it was in some of the earlier ones. But we are also reaching the midpoint. So at some point, I want to do a video talking about potential ban list hits. Maybe I'm really hoping the ban list doesn't hit mid-season. I really hope it does not, but you never know. It might. So you kind of have to be prepared for that kind of thing. I'm hoping that it doesn't happen until after Anaheim. Like if we get a restriction list, I hope it's before Worlds, you know? Like a couple weeks leading up to Worlds or something, you know? Give time for people to practice their stuff and everything. But with that, we will be signing off. Thank you all very much. Once again, thank you to Weiss Time for posting all of the deck lists. And with that, we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.